on December 12th. Disney Plus invites you to go behind the scenes with Taylor Swift in an exclusive 6-episode docuseries.
I wanted to give something to the fans that they didn't expect. The only thing left is to close the book.
The end of an era. And don't miss Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, the final show, featuring for the first time the Tortured Poets Department. Streaming December 12th, only on Disney Plus.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I'm going to give you a wonderful, useful reframe that occurred to me many years ago, and it's going to really blow your socks off. If you are a preoccupied attachment woman, the pursuing partner, the low self-esteem partner, whatever it is, and you got the avoidant guy, right, that you're dragging along to get married, to do all these things, to love you, because you think that then everything will feel better. Well, it won't. So anyway, please do subscribe for over 220 more episodes, and also read my stuff and buy me a coffee. I'm writing a brand new post every single day, often about avoidant attachment and preoccupied attachment. Okay, so if you're a woman and you bring up marriage and you say that you want to get married and that you want to get married right now, pretty much like you want to get married ASAP. We're not talking about two kids dating their 20s, early, college, saying, oh, one day we'll get married. Oh, yeah, we'll get married. Okay, wait, let's just even do that one. So let's say you're with a boy and you're in college and you want to get married after college and you want to have kids and you say, maybe one day we'll get married. And he says, oh, I don't know if I believe in marriage. Bye. Bye-bye. He just rejected your proposal. It's the same as if you did it on the sports, I don't know what that thing is called, that big movie screen type thing at the stadium and proposed. If you proposed to him on that thing and he said no, that's just what happened. That's the same thing emotionally as what happened. Let's go to the more usual situation where you're in your mid-20s or your 30s or something, and really mid-20s still. I think the average age of getting married is mid or late 20s still. And you basically say to your boyfriend, we've been dating for a year, what's happening? I would want to get married. I really want to get married. And he says, I don't know about marriage. Why are you always pressuring me? I don't know if I want children. I don't know if I want marriage, or maybe I know, but I don't know if it should be with you because I don't know how well we get along. You know what you say? Bye. Unfortunately, he just rejected your proposal. You proposed. You proposed marriage. What does the word propose mean? It means to bring up an idea. It doesn't have to mean something that is about a wedding. You proposed something. The thing that you proposed was getting married. He said no. So if you could learn this lesson, it'll be the most useful lesson ever to the preoccupied attachment woman, and you could teach it to your children, to your daughters especially also. And I'll get into how you can use this as a man as well. Really, obviously, any preoccupied attachment partner. But if you say that you want to be with somebody, doesn't matter how you say it. So now in our society, and this may be changing, the man still has to propose. So a woman that has basically done the entire relationship herself, as though she's putting her hand into a sock and making it into a puppet and telling him, we have to have date night and we have to do this and you have to read this book and you have to introduce me to your friends and you have to post me on social media and you have to ask me how my day was and I need you to text me at least 3 times a day. And Lana Lee, who was on my podcast at some point from Substack, she was talking, she talks a lot, she's a younger woman, she has a boyfriend now, but she talks about being the pursuing partner in many of these relationships. She said that she set up an Excel spreadsheet that told him, no, she actually made an app that scheduled texts to send to him or something, and it would be like, ask Lana about her job interview, and she would like schedule it to send. So that's what I mean by like creating a relationship unilaterally, like with a sock puppet, right? So obviously that didn't work out, and it's funny that she said it, and it's even if you cannot create an app, it is representative of many preoccupied attachment women's lived experience. You're telling the guy, you have to say you love me. You have to say you love me. You, the woman, has to get into therapy to think, why would you say to somebody, you have to say you love me? If he doesn't say he loves you, it should be next. It should be all done. And I understand that it's very, very hard to do that. Why? Because preoccupied attachment is from the sort of upbringing where you had a parent that was not responsive much, but they were responsive sometimes. So they were warm and loving sometimes, so it's called variable ratio reinforcement. It's like a slot machine. Every so many times, randomly, that you pursued your parent for affection, they would give it to you. But you could never know when, you could never predict it. You didn't have a secure relationship where you could predict that the majority of your initiatives to be close would be reciprocated. Instead, it was this random thing. Not your parents' fault. I mean, unless they're a sociopath, that's still not their fault. How do you become a sociopath? Terrible abuse, right? But either way, they just did not have the bandwidth to be loving in the way that you needed. It wasn't a good fit, whatever. But you got to work on it in individual therapy. That is the crux of the matter. You cannot be chasing these guys and making them into trying to make a sock into a boyfriend. And it doesn't work. And what's the equivalent with a man? So usually women will not reject the man's proposal. But preoccupied attachment men, they may pre-propose. They may say things like, oh, I want to have, get married. And she's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know when, I don't know. So goodbye. She is not into you. You want a thing called to get married. She doesn't want that thing. You haven't done the proposal, but you've proposed. You have proposed marriage. Now, does this mean that if you're 22 talking that nobody's allowed to say, I want to postpone it for a little bit until this and that reason or until we have more money? No, but that is a very different tone. That is not a rejection of you. It's a rejection. Maybe we don't have enough money to get married right now, but I love being in a relationship with you, and it's definitely going toward that from my perspective. And as long as you're not bringing this up at like 3 minutes into the first date, then by the time, okay, so what would be a normal amount? Let's say like 3 to 6 months if you're in your mid-20s to know, maybe 3 months. Let's stick to 3 months because we don't have infinity time on the planet. You should know that if you're a person who wants marriage, this is a person who wants marriage and everything's going well with you, so you're a real contender. Unless one of you just drops dead or turns into an unexpected crazy person that's secretly having a double life, cheating, just something, that it will be with you, right? And there should be a timeline, or it could be a vague timeline after we get out of college, after I'm done with medical school. And there should be a reason for that because, I don't know what the reason is. As I'm saying this, I'm saying, college, okay, y'all don't have any money, you can't buy a house. Medical school goes on a really long time, so when I have clients who are doctors, they had a long, long time of education. If you're waiting till you're
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
boyfriend is done with medical school or law school or who knows what, right? I mean, if somebody really loves you, then they want to be with you. So you're proposing marriage as a woman or dating. So there's these women get into these friends with benefits things or situationship, it's called now. And they say, oh, I would actually be interested in making this like a real thing. And the guy's like, well, I don't know. You proposed, he rejected, you're out. You're out. It's sad. It's sad when somebody doesn't like you back the same way as you like them. That's sad from childhood. It's sad through adulthood. It's sad if it is a family member. It's sad if it's a friend. And it's sad if it's a romantic partner. But it is what it is. And if somebody doesn't like you back, and you then start to try to convince them, that is when everything gets 1,000 times more unhealthy. And these women, by the way, end up initiating divorce. If you initiated the marriage and you initiated the family and you're always schlepping this guy around behind you and dragging him to the next stage of life, eventually when you're around 40, your estrogen drops, your midlife awakening happens, and you say, why was I creating this relationship all by myself? I deserve to have some mutual love in my life, or at the very least to be away from this frustration. And you see it like way clearer. You're like, oh, I did basically, you may not be using my term, you should be after this podcast, but you may not say, oh, I proposed and he rejected me, but then finally he capitulated. But that's what happened. You know, and if you're the guy doing it, it's the same thing. Women more often want children. They more often want family. They more often understand that they have to do that relatively sooner biologically. So it's much less common for a man to bring up marriage and the woman to say, I don't know. There's fewer avoidant attachment women, but the ones that there are, they do things like that. They are people who didn't respond that well to the proposal or to previous discussions about the proposal. And by the way, if you're a man and you propose to a woman and she's not super excited, well, bye. I mean, I know you just spent a lot of money on a ring, but you know, that is a really, 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 really bad sign. She should be really excited. She should be really, really happy. And if she's not really, really happy, then you didn't propose to the right woman. And that would have to be something that you dealt with immediately, because I have people that have said to me that when they proposed, they really kind of felt weird afterwards because the response from their fiance, the prospective wife, was not uniformly happy. And that is like a super bad sign. And obviously, that would mean that she is ambivalent about you, which should, if you work on your self-esteem and your strength, and you should be able to leave that. It's better to break an engagement than to get divorced. It's so much easier. It feels impossible to break an engagement. It feels like it would be the end of the world. You would embarrass yourself and humiliate yourself in front of everybody. But nobody cares. People mostly care about themselves. And you would lose some money if things had gotten further in the process, but you will lose a lot more money and your mental health will be worse and your prospective children will suffer if you divorce, right? So get out of anything as quick as you can once you realize that it is wrong. And of course, that's easier said than done, but therapy really does help. It really, really does. And women are more often the preoccupied attachment partner. They're more often these ones having their proposal rejected by an avoidant guy. And their proposal to have children, and their proposal to live together, and their proposal to merge finances, and their proposal to cook family dinner, and their proposal to do hobbies and date nights together, whatever it is. All of the things where you want to be close, they propose and the guy rejects. But it isn't as immediate as if, you know, and as obvious as if you literally proposed marriage and they rejected it. But that is what's happening. You're proposing, you're bringing this up every couple days, every couple weeks, every couple months, and the guy never proposes. So basically, once you bring up marriage, in our culture, his job then, if he wants to be with you, is propose. Like, that's the part that he does. And it's bullshit. It's not coming out of nowhere. It's literally like it's a dance. It's him leading you through a dance. It should be a thing that you both decide that you want to do, and then he does the proposal. But when the woman brings it up first, which she well may if she's the one who talks more and thinks more about relationships and whatever, and she may bring it up first. But once she brings it up first, it's a proposal. And it needs to be thought of as a proposal. And if you wouldn't stay with somebody who rejected a public proposal, don't stay with somebody who would reject a private proposal, because you're going to feel very, very bad about yourself in the future. And getting this guy to one day possibly be half as into the relationship as you would hope for somebody to be, this is no victory. That is really no victory. And it's the same to finally get an avoidant woman to what? To have sex with you? You know, to go on a date with you. No, the thing that you want, which is the reciprocal love, which you feel would be healing. You're drawn to this avoidant person who you could barely get it from because of the things in your past. It's a booby prize. It doesn't end up being what you think. It ends up being very disappointing. You think all this, my whole life, for what? To get somebody who says, actually, you know, I do love our children, but I still don't like being tied down that much, and I need to do a lot of work travel. I mean, that's kind of what happens. The person does not turn to you and say, actually, despite trying to wiggle out of getting married and wiggle out of having kids and wiggle out of everything, I now realize that I was wrong. And I mean, possibly if the person goes to extensive therapy, right? But most likely, and even that, does it change the personality? No, it doesn't really change a very avoidant person. A person that was constantly chafing against any possible restrictions or mutuality or reciprocal relationship, even if you kind of really push them into it, are they going to turn back and be like, oh, yeah, definitely? And then if they do, and I have seen people say this, once they say it, it like rings, it's very hollow. It's like, oh, okay, well, so then for 10 years I was suffering because you were pushing back against the whole idea of marriage, even post-marriage. And now you say, okay, well, I don't get that time back. And, it doesn't, once you get it, you could read the book Half His Age. Read the book Half His Age and y'all will very much understand what I mean. It's kind of a hollow victory. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. And hopefully you enjoyed this and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.